So for quite some time now, I've moved almost all of my editing over to Neovim from VS Code. There's still one thing though that I was using VS Code a lot for, and that would be a Jupyter notebook. Just haven't settled on a plugin to use in Neovim, and a couple days ago I decided it's just time to do it. So did a little research, found a plugin I like, and I want to walk through that. That plugin is called iron.nvim, the interactive REPLs over Neovim, and REPLs is important there. It actually supports more than just Python. Just like a Jupyter notebook actually can have many different kernels to run different languages. Same thing here. So this is what it looks like here. I've got a Python file here, and I got a bunch of sample code set up. So first up, I can invoke a shortcut here to toggle open the terminal over on the right. That is an Ipython REPL over there. If I come over there, I can actually interact with this. I could do 1 + 1, for example. I can do whatever I'd like here, but I could do with Python here. No different than if I just run the Ipython command over here inside of a terminal window. So now that that's opened up, if I want to run code I have over on the left side, which is probably what's important here, first off, I could invoke a shortcut here to clear out the terminal over on the right. By the way, all the shortcuts, you can find the documentation for this plugin. It lists all of them. So I'm not going to explain what the shortcut is because I've customized most of them to my liking, but you can see a whole list here if you want to refer to this and try it out. So I'm just going to point out that there's one that allows you to clear, which I think is important because it's nice to start from a clean slate. Right now, one of the simplest shortcuts would be just to run everything inside of this file here. So I could do that one, run the entire file. Of course, that's a lot of output. And of course, I could scroll through it, but I tend to prefer chunks, one chunk at a time. And maybe if I want to focus on this very first cell, if you will, what I can do here, first up, I could clear out over on the left here. And if I put my cursor down inside of this paragraph here, one thing I could do here, I could run the entire paragraph, could send the paragraph, if you will. You can see each line is sent over, and then I can see the output. And I really like that style, actually, where each line basically acts as a cell, and you can see the output right afterwards. You know exactly what output corresponds to each command, which means you don't have to put a label on each chunk of output. It's going to be implicit based on the code that was run. Oh, and I just found something else I like here. So I have a plugin set up that allows me to select text and see other instances of it. And I just realized right now that's a nice way to correlate the spot between the two panes here. Just select some text in the output for the code, and it can show me exactly over on the left-hand side where that code is at. If I don't want the whole paragraph, though, there's a shortcut here that allows me to send a single line. And then maybe I come down one here and send this line. And one modification I made, I differentiated two sets of shortcuts. There's one that allows me to send a line, and then I could come down and I could send the next line here. So I build up my history that way if I want to see previous runs. But a lot of times I just want to see the current selection and I want to see nothing else. So I set up a whole parallel set of shortcuts that allows me to basically clear and send a line at the same time. So I can do ICL here. And there you go. You can see it cleared it over on the right and shows that one line. So now if I come up a line, you can see it clears and shows the next line. Another target here, instead of just a paragraph, it has support for what's basically a cell delineator here. You can set this to whatever you'd like, but pound and percent is pretty common. So I've used that here. I just stuck with that. And what that allows me to do is inside of this cell, if you will, until the next pound percent, I can just do a shortcut that will send that block, or I can clear and send the block. And then when I move on to the next block, which actually could go on to the next block here after running this one, another shortcut that will basically run a block and move down to the next block. So if I do again here, moves on to the next block. And so each block is run, shows the output, and then I move on to the next block if I want to sequentially step through the blocks. Now, if it's not obvious why this is useful, this is probably the number one use case for me here. When it comes to writing Python code or really any code, if I have to spend a lot of time loading a data set, a big file, or maybe even crunching some numbers, if I'm working on code after that to process the results, like for example, if I'm using an LLM or a data set, I don't want to load that every single time I make changes to my code that's downstream that then processes whatever it is that I loaded. So for example, if I have some code here that loads a big data set that takes some time here, here is the equivalent in VS Code. I can run this first cell. Of course, it's going to take 5 seconds because I put a sleep in there. And now my data is loaded. That took 5 seconds. I don't want to have to run that every single time. I should be able to move on here, run the next chunk of code here, and then of course, scroll down and move on and run the next chunk of code. And if I want to change something in this last line here, if I want to make changes to this, I should be able to change that and run just that piece of the puzzle and not have to run everything. So I'm actually going to copy this here and bring this over. If I were to paste this over here, If I want to bring this over and have a similar cell structure, that would be the first cell, this would be the second cell, and this would be the last cell here. So I'm going to reload the terminal over on the right here. And same thing here. I can run this cell by sending this block, if you will. That's basically a cell. Okay, that is done now, so that's taken about 5 seconds. And then if I come down to the next block, I can run this part, send that, get my 20 items, come down here, and get the output of my last cell. And so, of course, then if I want to make changes here and print something else, I can just add that in, and then I can send this block, or maybe I want to clear and send just that block there and see just that output. And so now if I want to come up here and run this particular cell, again, I have a shortcut to clear that out and send just that cell. And this cell actually gets at another problem I have with VS Code here. When it comes to cells that have a lot of text in them, I hate that when you run that cell, it just messes up the whole screen. The code goes flying off the top, and then down below, you've got your next cell. And so I find this frustrating because I lose track of where the cell is at that I'm trying to work on. And of course, if the output gets really long, it's going to truncate at that point in time, all of which is just a hassle. That's why I like this approach here, where the output's over on the right. It doesn't at all move my code around when I'm running and getting a lot of output. And then don't forget, it's REPLs plural. It's not just Python, but I could come over here and open up a fish script I have here. So I could type in a fish script. I could do an ls, for example. I could just send this file over, and you can see I got my ls over there on the right. And actually, I've got 2 terminals opened up, so I'll come over and close the one for Python here. Just close that out like that. So now if I wanted to learn something like string split here, I could split on a comma. Could look at what this does here with Wes and hello and world. I can now run this here, send that line over, and now I can see how the string split function works. And another good example here, Lua. Naturally a good fit for Neovim here. I want to define a function here. I could do that. And inside of that function, yeah, that's fine. Whatever my little copilot is generating here. And then down below here, I can then call that function. And if I want to test, does this work? I don't know if it works or not. Send it over. It's a new terminal. I need to come over and close the fish one here. Not in the habit yet of closing these when I'm done with them, so I should probably do that before I switch over to a new file. Oh, and if you want to restart the REPL, if something goes wrong and you want to reload, there's another shortcut for that. You can also quit out. There's a shortcut to quit. And of course, you can open it back up then. And yeah, let's send this over. There you go. Looks like it's working at least. Prints out a function. And so maybe I realize there's a function there. I want to call that as well. I could do that. And I could call both in. And speaking of the configuration, let's come over here and take a look at that. It's this iron.nvim plugin, though this is the actual upstream. I've got my own fork of it because I made a few modifications. I had some issues with clearing the REPL, and I wanted to fix that. So if I scroll down here, just ignore a lot of my functions here. It's just for custom behavior that I like. A lot of what I'm using is out of the box, and I made some tweaks to it along the way. For example, here's all my shortcuts that I added that do a clear first, and then something else like send a block or a line or a paragraph. So I've got this clear then, and then I pass what I'm going to do next, which would be the subsequent action. So I've got IC and then MVF, and I like I because it's interactive, but there's quite a few times I forget my leader key, and then I'm typing I and going into insert mode, and that's frustrating. So I might change this, but for now I use I as the very first indication that I'm going to send a command to the interactive REPL. And then in the setup for iron, there's a REPL definition section. And for each type that you want to work with, for example, shell scripts, I'm specifying fish as the command there. Lua, of course, I'm going to run the Lua REPL in that case. Also, I've got this set up for Python here. And I'm using Ipython, and I like that because it's very colorful, full of a lot of features here. Let me show you what this looks like if it's not Ipython. All right, so now I'm going to reload here, pick up my new config, go to my Python script here. If I send this file here, you can see it's very plain. There's not much color. Part of that's fixed with the 13.3 version of Python. It comes with some coloring in the REPL, but still, Ipython's had that forever now. Also, just the support for a Python REPL, pretty basic when it comes to the one that's out of the box. And so that's why I like to use IronPython instead. The color is just incredibly helpful to figure out what's going on here. All I have to do is flip that around, come back over here, reload, and send the file. And there you go. I've got the nice coloring. And then I made a change here to strip out line comments so that those don't show over on the right. If you want to keep those, that's fine. You can do that here. You can do like a line comment like foo here. I like to strip those out because I just don't want to see them. So if I undo my change here to do that, save that, just return the normal result here, reload. Now you can see over on the right, of course, I've got my cell delineations as well as this comment here. I just think that pollutes things. I feel like the code alone is enough of a label, if you will, so I like to take those out. And so I strip those out by modifying the formatter to strip out lines that are just a comment. And then I specified my customization for how it splits the window. If you want to split horizontally, you can do that, vertically, bottom right, whatever you want to do, you can customize that here. So when you're opening up new terminal windows, they go where you want them to. And then there's a keymap section here. So these would be all the keymaps are out of the box. You can set the name that's provided, and then you specify what key combo you want to use. So this would be for the built-in key combinations to override those. This ability to select a specific context is another unique benefit to this in Neovim versus over in Visual Studio Code. Over in VS Code, you have no way to say, I want to run just this line. I'm not even aware that you can even do that. Or I want to run this paragraph and this paragraph, and I want to run this paragraph here. There's no way to select that and run that. Well, now you got that ability. You've got any way you can select text in Neovim with the send motion. You have the sending a paragraph, sending a line, sending the file. Oh, sending until the cursor. That's also useful if you want to run up to a certain point in time. So if I restart the terminal here, and let's just say I want to run up to this point in time, I can just do now I can send up to that point in time and stop right there. And yeah, these are the shortcuts I set up for restarting the REPL, toggling the REPL, interrupting the REPL. So if something's taking a long time to run, like if I do this dataset one again here, send that block, can interrupt it with ISI here. And you can see over on the right, that was interrupted right on my sleep call here. And of course, there's an exit. So ISQ, that'll exit out and close out the terminal. And then of course, if you start up again, it's going to be a brand new REPL. And yeah, I think that's a good stopping point. I'd recommend that if you've used a Jupyter notebook in the past, not even necessarily in VS Code, but just in general, and you like the experience, check out one of these plugins. So there are several other plugins like Iron, and then there's also a few plugins that actually try to synchronize a Jupyter notebook with code inside of Neovim and move the two back and forth. So that's how you can then run your code and show it back in Neovim. That's another viable approach. So I'm pretty happy with this simple approach here, whereby I have a file full of code and I can just select and run chunks of the code. I think that is basically the best of all worlds here because it's very simple. Essentially, I just want a nice way to interact with that REPL, send code, and then get output. That's really all there is to this.